Hello, my name is Casey Watson, and you are listening to my presentation about writing across the curriculum. By the end of this presentation, I would like to define writing across the curriculum, understand why students need to be writing across the curriculum, some research-based strategies for implementation in your classroom, and practical assessment tools to drive further instruction. What is writing across the curriculum? Writing across the curriculum is defined as the process of writing during the content portions of the curriculum. During this presentation, the curriculum I will be referring to is math, science, social studies, and reading. Why do my students need to write across the curriculum? The Common Core standards state that students must learn to read and write in many content areas. This is part of the ELA guidelines to encourage literacy skills that are needed for college and career preparation. Writing in math. In 2015, there was an elementary mathematical writing task force that was assembled full of professionals to discuss how and why the need for writing in mathematics at the elementary level. So according to this task force, they recommend students engage in mathematical writing that supports reasoning. The task force recommends 4 types of mathematical writing, such as exploratory, informative, explanatory, argumentative, and mathematically creative. As you can see, the different types of mathematical writing directly reflect the Common Core standards with informational writing, opinion writing, and narrative writing. Some practical applications in the classroom. Exploratory reflects the process that students are going through to get the answer. Some ways that you can use this in your classroom are to provide students with opportunities to write notes asking why to the teacher, and to use a math notebook to jot questions. Just like reading, in 2nd grade, the 2.1 standard is asks and answers questions, and this gives the students an opportunity to get practice asking questions. Informational explanatory. Students can create a dictionary to explain the attributes of shapes. They can write a book. Quick writes, they could use Seesaw to draw a diagram. Technology can be pulled into this as much as you want to as well, with Google Classroom and different applications like that. Argumentative. In an exit ticket, placing the question, how do you know? Or even asking questions like, how do you know? Or prove it, so that students have to take a stance and defend why or why not they agree with something. If you present students with a letter with facts, students can write back to critique. The ability to critique a person's statement is important. Mathematically creative reflects narrative writing, where students can be creative in how they approach the different problems. So they can create posters of objects representing the numbers 1 through 20 in the lower grades. They could write their own book about why you regroup using creative stories, and poetry to show odd and even numbers. Writing in science or social studies. The use of inquiry-based pedagogy supports students' critical thinking skills. A writer's workshop approach, in response to the observations, inquiries found in the unit, can help students practice literacy skills in authentic activities. Some practical applications are using a writer's workshop format, which uses 3 parts: whole group instruction, writing time, and a structured response. During the whole group instruction, this is where you can give a mini lesson on scientific processes before an experiment that you would like them to write about. So for example, if you want to give them practice writing a materials list, you give a mini lesson on writing a materials list portion of your lesson. Now, during the writing time, this is where students are actively writing within the processes. This can include pre-writing, drafting, revising, or editing. So as you can see, this writing time isn't just students writing pencil to paper. It's conferring with the students during a writing conference or with their peers as well. And then during the structured response time, this is where the students have an opportunity to publicly share their writing. One way that you can structure this is using 2 stars and a wish, where a student shares their writing, everyone gives 2 things that they really loved about it, and then a wish for something that can give that student an opportunity for feedback of what they can do better next time. The reading-writing connection. In the small group discussion books, I am reading The Writing Thief, which is all about mentor texts. And mentor texts that reflect the content being taught provide students with exemplars and strategies to use as an author. The students think of books from the eye of an author to develop increased reading comprehension. Some practical applications. So you can use a passage from the text for shared reading where it is blown up where everyone can see, and the students get practice reading that over and over the course of a week. And the goal is gradual release of responsibility, where at the beginning the teacher is reading, and by the end the student is able to have been guided and scaffolded where they can read that text independently. You can use this mentor text for a word hunt for your phonics patterns of that week that you're teaching, an interactive read aloud of a mentor text within the content area where you're using different discussion questions, a shared writing experience, and an independent writing for the students. Some assessment opportunities are writing conferences. This is where you can be writing notes and observations about the students and the things that you're seeing, such as conventions. As with all of these types of writing, they're very quick, and sometimes you're getting a really good gauge of what the students are capable of independently. You can use rubrics for the notebooks that you're keeping, or exit slips according to the Common Core state standards, teacher observations, and all of this can be used for progress monitoring for interventions. For example, if you're always seeing that this student is never capitalizing at the beginning of a sentence, you can take this time to try to put interventions in place and use all of these tools as opportunities for the students to show what they know. In conclusion, as adults, we partake in writing for a variety of reasons throughout the day. I make lists for groceries. I have to draw diagrams for my daughters, and I have to write letters and emails. Students learning the art of writing does not stop within the allotted writing time in the schedule. Writing during math, science, social studies, and reading is not only attainable. As you can see, some of those ideas are very low prep, but they're necessary. So I want you to think, where can you add authentic writing opportunities for your students throughout your curriculum?